What if I told you one of the most powerful tools that you'll have in business, in marketing, in sales, and leadership is storytelling? There's a ton of power behind this, and it isn't some fancy strategy. There are tried and true solutions that have worked to build multiple trillion-dollar industries. When Steve Jobs was launching the iPhone, he also was launching blockbuster movies that left us speechless. The best storytellers, like Steve Jobs, capture our attention, inspire action, and build movements. Today, we're going to dive into the science of storytelling and how you can use it to build an unforgettable brand and sell your vision and influence people at scale. Humans are wired for stories. Long before we had writing, we passed down knowledge through storytelling. In fact, neuroscience proves that stories activate more areas of the brain than raw data or facts alone. One of the things I learned when I was building Estated was selling data wasn't the easiest product. We sold giant Excel sheets or different APIs to property data into your business. And at the end of the day, selling the bed and bath count and square footage and ownership information and sale history, that wasn't beautiful, fancy, nice information we were selling people. But the story was that we could power your business with simple data and simple access to it. You could sign up in minutes and you could instantly start using our API, or you could use our web platform, or you could purchase data in Excel sheets, depending on the county or state that you wanted. And the story was always we had simple data. It wasn't complicated to get access to, and you could sign up instantly. And that story brought us tons of users, ended up us scaling to millions of dollars in revenue and eventually getting acquired for 8 figures. And so your brain actually lights up when you hear a story versus a fact or just a single data point. So you want to wrap stories around what you're talking about. It actually will activate more areas of the brain. When we hear a compelling story, we don't just listen, we feel, we connect, and we remember. Let's go into some real world examples of some of the best stories that have ever been told. And we're gonna start with Apple. Apple's rise to be a value of $3 trillion didn't happen just because they have the best, easiest, most seamless products. It happens because they told the best stories. When Steve Jobs launched the iPhone in 2007, Apple didn't just list its features. Jobs crafted a narrative about how the iPhone was a revolutionary device that would reinvent phone. And back in 1997, Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy. They had just $7 billion in revenue, just a small $7 billion, but the failing product lineup, which was in the Mac computers. When Jobs returned, focused on a story-driven marketing approach and launched the Think Different campaign.
Here's to the crazy ones, the misfits, the rebels, the troublemakers, the round pegs in the square holes, the ones who see things differently. They're not fond of rules, and they have no respect for the status quo. You can quote them, disagree with them, glorify or vilify them. About the only thing you can't do is ignore them. Because they change things. They push the human race forward. And while some may see them as the crazy ones, we see genius. Because the people who are crazy enough to think they can change the world are the ones who do.
Fast forward to today, after many, many years of building tons of incredible products, including the iPad, the AirPods, they generated from $7 billion in 1997 to $394 billion in annual revenue, with the iPhone in itself generating more than 50% of total sales. That's the power of storytelling. It transformed Apple from a struggling tech company to the most valuable brand on earth. Another great one is Nike. They don't just sell shoes. They sell victory. They sell winning. They sell getting shit done. In 1964, Nike was actually called Blue Ribbon Sports. It started as a small sneaker distributor making $8,000 in its first year. By the time they'd launched the Just Do It campaign in 1988, their revenue had grown to $877 million.
I run 17 miles every morning. People ask me how I keep my teeth from chattering in the wintertime. I leave in my locker
That one campaign centered around storytelling helped Nike dominate the sportswear industry. Their ads don't focus on materials, features, or pricing. They focus on telling stories about underdogs, perseverance, and triumph. Today, Nike pulls in almost $51 billion a year in revenue, and that's proven by emotion-driven storytelling. Mr. Elon Musk. You talk about PayPal, you talk about Solar City, you talk about Neuralink, you talk about SpaceX, you talk about the Boring Company. The guy is a master storyteller. He's a master entrepreneur. Everything he's done is freaking credible. Now he's basically running the government. He owns Twitter. What can't the man do? But Tesla never just sold cars. He sold a mission. And he didn't just talk about the techs or the efficiency of the batteries. He painted a vision where we were world free from fossil fuels and clean energy powered absolutely everything. The company had barely sold a few hundred of their roadsters, but he crafted a story about progress, sustainability, and that story worked. Today, Tesla's worth more than $650 billion. They sell over 2 million electric cars a year, and they're just getting started. As you can see, the Cybertruck was an absolute huge stunt. If you saw in front of the Trump Tower when it blew up, what an incredible marketing picture that was. It actually saved, hopefully, many lives when that bomb went off in that car. You've seen Joe Rogan shoot his bow and arrow at the Tesla. And honestly, he's just one of the greatest storytellers we've ever had in our time. We're lucky to be in his genius in this century. Airbnb. In 2008, Airbnb wasn't a billion-dollar company. It was just three broke guys renting out an air mattress in their kitchen in a San Francisco apartment. No one wanted to invest in them because the idea of sleeping in a stranger's house was absolutely foreign. But the founders realized they weren't selling cheap places to stay. They were selling belonging. They reframed the business as a way to live like a local and experience authentic travel. That story changed everything.
Dear stranger, when I booked this trip, my friend said I was crazy. Why would I stay in someone else's house? But this morning, a city I've never been to felt like one I already knew. I just wanted to thank you for sharing your world with me. It felt like home. Airbnb, belong anywhere.
Airbnb grew from making $200 a week in 2008 to generating $9 billion in revenue in 2003, with a market cap of over $90 billion. Another great example, whether you love it or hate it, is Coca-Cola. They sold happiness, not just drinks. If you go back to old Coca-Cola ads, it's good-looking people sipping on crisp-looking cold bottles. The storytelling behind Coca-Cola is amazing. And they sell happiness at the end of the day. For over a century, the brand has focused on moments of joy and friendship and nostalgia, rather than just the carbonated, sugary drink that they sell you. And so in the early 1900s, it was just a small drink company selling 9 bottles a day. But their storytelling, ads about family gatherings, summer memories, and the Taste the Feeling campaign, Coke became one of the most recognized brands in the entire world. Today, Coca-Cola sells nearly 2 billion drinks a day in over 200 countries, generating $45 billion in revenue annually. That's the magic of storytelling. It transforms products into emotions and brands into legends. And so why do these stories matter? These companies didn't succeed because they had the best products. They succeeded because they had the best stories. Apple's story turned a product launch into a revolution. Nike turned sneakers into a symbol of victory. Tesla made people believe in a better, cleaner, more sustainable future. Airbnb transformed trust in strangers into $1 billion interest. Coca-Cola made soda synonymous with happiness. Never saw that one coming. Soda doesn't really bring me happiness. But like I just said, 2 billion drinks sold a day in over 200 countries. Unbelievable. How can you master storytelling like a pro? Let's get into the science of how they actually do this. The number one is follow the hero's journey. Every great story follows a pattern. It starts with a relatable hero, introduces a challenge, shows the struggles they went through, and how it ended in a transformation. Whether you're telling your brand story or selling a product, ask yourself, who's the hero? What's their struggle? How do they win? Step 2, you have to make it emotional. Facts tell, but stories sell. Studies show people donate more money when they hear a story of one person in need rather than a list of statistics. Why? Because emotions drive decisions, not logic. Number 3, use contrast and suspense. The best storytellers create contrast, light versus dark, problem versus solution, failure versus triumph. They also use suspense, keeping audiences hooked with curiosity. Use open loops, digress a bit, unexpected twists, dramatic pauses. Step number 4, show, don't just tell. You have to show examples of this. You have to show the struggle. How hard was it to get to where you are today? Great stories don't tell, they show. Instead of saying this product will change your life, show it in action. Remember, show, don't just tell. Now, a little bit more of an advanced storytelling in business and personal branding. It's not just for Hollywood. It's the backbone of marketing for many brands, personal branding and leadership. Whether you're writing ads, speaking on stage, or growing an audience online, your ability to tell a compelling story will separate you from the competition. For example, entrepreneurs who share their journey, you can go on my YouTube channel and see my journey from getting out of high school, being an automotive mechanic, to starting the tech business, learning how to run Google ads, to building a handful of products, selling some for 7 figures, selling one for 8 figures, making millions of dollars every year through these products. If you guys are also looking for help with creating these, use ChatGPT, use Notion, and use Grammarly. There's another really good story brand framework by Donald Miller. It's a structured way to craft a brand narrative. The most powerful businesses in the world, which we talked about, some of the greatest leaders we've talked about, and the biggest brands in the world, they don't just sell. They tell unforgettable stories. So if you want to grow your audience, build trust, and influence people, you must master this skill of storytelling. Start with the hero's journey, make it emotional, use contrast, and always show, don't just tell. If this video gave you any insights, come join us in the Everyday Entrepreneur at our school program. The link is below. Subscribe to the channel every single week. This year, we will have one of the greatest 52 business lessons in history, just like storytelling today, and we'll be deep diving into it and giving fantastic examples. See you in the next one.